All right, and welcome back, folks, to another episode of A Distinguished Conversation. I'm your host, as always, Noah, and with me in studio today is my co-host, as always, Caleb Deal.
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy, howdy, folks, indeed. So, how are you doing this week, Caleb?
I'm doing all right. Haven't done absolutely fucking anything all week.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm kind of just prepping for my Ireland trip.
Oh, nice.
But, like, I mean, I'll be leaving here in, like, 3 weeks, probably.
3 weeks? Nice.
Yeah, so first 2 weeks of September, I'll be out of here.
Heard.
But, like, just setting up hotels for 2 weeks straight is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm gonna be staying at like hostels, which are like, it's basically like dorms.
Yeah.
But like while you're traveling, so you'll be in a room with like anywhere from like 4 to 8 people, which it's whatever. Nice. I honestly don't care about that much as long as somebody doesn't like shit themselves in bed.
Yeah, it'd be that way sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you just gotta shit.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a great episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where it's the mystery of who pooped the bed. And so, like, there's this one part where they're like, well, the first one was Frank, but the second one was a mixture of the two people who were sleeping in the bed. And, like, there's a turd merger.
It reminds me of that, I don't know if you followed, like, the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trials much, but, like, there's a whole thing where she just shat in his bed.
Yeah.
And said it was for a joke. Or
yeah, that was not.
It was as a meme, or I don't remember her reasoning behind it, but she just shat in his bed.
Good times, good times.
Just a big old hot steamy dookie just right where he sleeps.
It be that way sometimes, though. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know any times where it would be like that.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, that's the worst way to get back at somebody, just shit in their bed. Because there's no way you can be like, nuh-uh, that wasn't me.
Yeah. You have actual DNA evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, this is disgusting, but I have DNA evidence in my little Ziploc baggie over here. Oh, good times. So, on Saturday, I played final show with Cass Borv for the time being. At least until next time when she hauls me out to Chicago or whatever. And after the show, I had the best pickup line.
Oh?
And so, like, it's weird. I am terrible at talking with the ladies, but I have some pretty decent pickup lines. Mm-hmm. And this one went, so at one point I had to run inside and use the bathroom at the show, and there was this real Ramona Flowers looking chick.
Yeah.
And
nice.
I was like, whoa. And so I ran inside and I just hear her talking with her table. And no context, I just hear her say, I promise, guys, I'm not a cop. And I was like, she's not a cop. I was like, I don't know. I'm just walking by. And everybody just laughed, and I ran to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And so didn't see this girl until later on in the night as I'm going to leave. And I asked for a to-go box. And I was like, hey, so you're not a cop, right? And she was like, what? No, that was a joke from earlier. I was like, okay, cool. Well, then your number's not 911. So can I get your number?
Nice.
I was
Did it
like,
work?
I was like, that's so smooth. I was like, that was bound to work. And instead, I got a better luck next time.
Nice. Just like on a card?
Nope.
Nice.
Just better luck next time. I was like, what is this? A penny arcade? Like a game of whack-a-mole where it's like, you didn't reach the high score. Better luck next time. Yep.
Honestly, that's probably the best way to get rejected. Just like, better luck next time. Yeah. Just like, like, I'm not interested, but like, good luck.
That was good.
Like, it's not like I hear people say like, oh yeah, bro, the worst thing she can say is no. It's like, no, that's not the worst thing.
The worst thing she can say is
like, ew. That's, that would.
Ew, or I thought you were engaged.
Yeah.
Or like, here's a good one. They give you your number, right? Mm-hmm. And then they don't text you. That's way worse for the self-esteem.
Or they just give you the wrong number. Like, you call, like, I've seen somebody like get given or like ask for somebody's number, and they give the dude their number.
Yeah.
The dude calls it, and it's just like some random guy.
And they're like, hello, this is Bob's Pizza.
Yeah, some shit like that.
what can I get for you? And you're like, oh, I'll take a large super Sicilian because and they're like, wrong number again, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of pizza, that's kind of today's topic. So,
just pizza as a whole?
No, a specific type of pizza. A very controversial. Oh, wrong one.
A pepperoni pizza?
Yeah.
You fucking heathen! Pepperoni pizza! Pineapple pizza?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No.
Are we just gonna like try it out and like compare?
Yeah, I don't know. I was so like I have the unpopular opinion that I really like pineapple on pizza.
I'm in the camp of I don't care. It's food.
Yeah.
I'll eat it.
Well, yeah, that's completely fair.
Like it's not like something where I think it's. Oh, I didn't think it was cut for a second.
I didn't. There we go. I need to get a new pizza slicer. Corporate.
Indeed.
Send one over to the Rock Road.
Sharpen their slicer.
Send one over to that Rock Road and Harry Cheese. I'm almost about to get my knife out. That Rock and Harry location. That's.
You know, I see people talk about like, oh, pineapple doesn't belong on pizza because, you know, pineapple doesn't come from Italy. There's no place around Italy that has pineapple, you know.
But
they're straying from the roots of pizza, that type of thing.
But do like banana peppers come from Italy?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things.
People are so against pineapple because it's a fruit versus like a pepper or a vegetable of some sort.
Well, like tomatoes are a fruit.
Yeah, but tomato is like the entire base of pizza. Plus, tomatoes aren't sweet. I mean, they can be, I guess, but they're more of like a bitter type of thing. But
it was funny. I was talking with some folks the other day, and they were talking about this one little cafe up in like northern Kansas, I believe, and they mentioned pineapples in spaghetti sauce.
Huh.
And I was like I had kind of had that error, the like what was it, the computer sound, the you know, and I was like, wait a second, that sounds so horrible, it just might work, you know. I was thinking about it because pineapple is very sweet, and then you have like tomato sauce, which tends to be very acidic, and I was like, you know, that would help counterbalance everything. And I was like, that's so disgusting how beautiful.
But you also get like this very sweet citrusy type thing from the pineapple versus the like bitterness of a tomato. I can see how that would work.
And I was like, next time I make spaghetti, I really want to throw some pineapples in there. That being said, I ordinarily hate just pineapple, but if it's cooked, different story.
Yeah. I'm honestly, pineapple has always been one of my favorite fruits. I just don't ever eat it just because it's a pain in the ass to like cut up fresh.
Yeah.
And the canned pineapple is just kind of like, meh.
Yeah. I bought a pineapple once and planned on learning how to cut it, and I was like, how the hell do you cut this thing? I was like, should I get my like utility saws? I was like, anybody got a miter saw? I was like trying to figure that out. And then someone like on YouTube was like, oh, you just do this, this, and this. And I was like, yeah, that looks difficult.
Yeah. What do you do with the pineapple once it was like, once you decided to just say like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do this?
I butchered the hell out of that pineapple.
Hell yeah.
It was so like jagged and just random cuts, but I was like, you know what? I cut a pineapple. Yeah.
And I saw this thing the other day where it was like the Goblet of Fire, but it's like the Italian version of the Goblet of Fire. And like one of the challenges was like you had to like steal a pizza that's being guarded by like a bunch of like, I don't know, dragons or something like that.
Yeah.
And you gotta slice it up and put it on a pizza, and like the reactions from like the Italian people was like, oh no, do you know where we are? And that type of thing.
Yeah. Just
So I never
stereotyping.
really thought about pineapples on pizza like being enticing of a violent reaction from Italians.
Yeah. Well, it's like the whole thing when people are like, somebody wears a sombrero and like a poncho, and then they're like, "Oh, that's racist," and then you go to like a Mexican or like you're Hispanic or like just any of your Latino friends or somebody who's caramelized, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, "Hey, what do you think of my little outfit?" And they're like, "Oh, I like your hat." Like, I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 of them. Actually, 99.9% of them will all say, "Yeah, nice outfit," or "Yeah, I don't care." They're like,
No.
"Hey, where'd you get that poncho?" Like, if someone were to come up to me wearing a poncho, I'd be like, "Hey, that's a nice poncho. Where'd you get it?" You know, where do you even find a poncho? My immediate thought is not, "Man, that's racist," or "That is just bad. You don't understand my culture." And
Let's see here. I'm gonna say, look and see on the internet. See what the internet says. I'm gonna say, is it okay to put pineapple on pizza?
Oh, that's always a good one.
And according to Big Mario's New York style pizza,
Ah,
I'm gonna go ahead and just look through this here.
calling you out, Big Mario.
Big Mario. Big Mario says that pizza is easily one of the most versatile foods available, which is true. It comes in
Agreed.
different styles. It can be topped up with just about anything you can imagine. We at Big Mario's offer a varied menu to cater, blah, 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 blah. Sales bullshit, sales bullshit, sales bullshit. There are those that argue that we should remain true to traditional and classic pizzas. There are also those that argue that pineapples on pizza are the best thing ever.
I would say it's the best thing ever, but I certainly enjoy the pineapple on the pizza.
Indeed.
That being said, where is Big Mario's?
Big Mario's is in New York.
Yeah, that's a bit of a drive. Never mind.
Let's see here. The first people who put pineapple on pizza goes to a Greek-born Canadian.
It would have been a Canadian, yeah.
A Greek-born Canadian of that too. He was inspired by Chinese and American dishes which merge savory and sweet flavors.
Huh.
But
you know, like when you think about that, he liked the idea of sweet and savory flavors and putting them together. And I mean, when like that's all food really is trying different combinations and permutations with different flavors.
yeah, and just like taking those flavors and just letting them evolve.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna probably tangent into something that's not food related off of this, but
Tangents with Caleb Deal.
indeed. So like the big issue that I have with like traditional type things, which yeah, great traditions and traditional items are fantastic. You know, they're traditions for a reason. You know.
Yeah.
But if you're so stuck to these traditions that you don't allow the food to evolve
Yeah.
and allow it to like, you know, change with the times, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like the traditions are gonna get outdated. They're gonna get old. They're gonna get bland.
Mhm.
It's just gonna get to the point where like you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. You know?
Yeah.
Like just pepperoni pizza. It's pepperoni pizza. You know? Like
Yeah, and you're
there's
never
nothing
gonna
special.
you're never gonna go wrong with a pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, but you're also not gonna be like, holy shit, this pepperoni pizza. I never fucking thought of that. It's just like, oh yeah, pepperoni pizza.
Yeah. Well, it's like, but I mean, like with anything, because like one of my favorite game series of all time is Resident Evil, and specifically how diverse Resident Evil is. I just realized I said Resident Evil kind of weird that first time, but I haven't played all of them, but I've played the first one, and that game is very different from like the 8th one, where the 7th and 8th were first person, and like the 6th one, from the 4th one on, they were all over the shoulder third person action adventure games pretty much. But when they had got to the 4th game, they needed that evolution of where do we go from here, because the game was on the verge of becoming stagnant.
Right. The Legend of Zelda does a great job of doing that too.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it's the exact same story every single game.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you gotta save the princess, man.
Yeah.
But
Gotta save those princesses.
Every single game has a different game mechanic and a different kind of flavor of story writing.
Yeah.
That makes every single Legend of Zelda experience completely different.
Oh yeah.
Games that don't do that very well are all pretty much all of your AAA titles, like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Call of Duty's been the exact same since Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
I know somebody's gonna be like, Caleb, you're stupid. Fucking.
Well, actually.
Yeah. Well, actually, in Infinity War and Advanced Warfare, fucking,
We went from
exosuits to being in space, and the guns changed our names, but the gameplay, it was the exact same. Like, you're gonna change like two little things and say that your game is completely different. EA Sports got in a lot of trouble with that because people started to realize that the Madden games, they're the exact same thing, just reskinned every single year.
Yeah.
Which, after you play, 3 or 4 years of that, you're just like, man, this kind of sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's weird because people want their Madden, but they also don't want to pay for a new one every year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's actually a great spot where you could do an update, like every 6 months, every year. Just update the last one until you need new hardware, new new technology to support the game.
Yeah.
Because
the only problem with that, I guess, with those updates, you'd like update all the players, update all the teams, update all their stats. But like that's what I always enjoyed about Madden is like it's all the up to date. Like you can play games like as they're happening in real time.
Yeah.
I've seen people where they'll like load up a Madden game and watch like the Super Bowl at the same time, and they'll like stat the teams out the exact same. And they'll like play along with the Super Bowl and just see how like just as something to do while they're watching a football game. It may have not been the Super Bowl. I think it was just a regular football game, but I've seen it. People do that kind of thing, which that's what's really cool about Madden. But when it's the exact same thing every single year, it's just like, man, I need something to change.
Yeah. Well, like, going back, like, to the Resident Evil, the third-person action-adventure was kind of their way of changing it, where we went from just plain horror to more in the action category, but that also kind of became their undoing a little bit, because 5 focused a little bit more action-heavy and kind of started diving away from horror, and then 6 is one of those games that I will never be able to play all the way through. I finished Leon's campaign and could not go to any of the other ones. It's just like there is 5 different campaigns, full-length campaigns, and you can play it through with the 2 characters that are in each.
Okay.
So it was like, at the end of the day, you had, like, you could.
So you said there's 5 campaigns, but each campaign has 2 different characters that you can play for the campaign?
Or is it? Because there's Chris, there's Sherry, and Leon. Okay, so no, there's like 7 different campaigns, but like 6 of them are just with character swap. So like,
gotcha.
You could play it as Leon, or you could play it as his partner Helena. You could play it as Chris or other army dude, or you could play as Sherry or whatever the other guy's Wesker's son was. And then there's like an Ada Wong campaign. But I will never, like, as soon as I finished the Leon, I was like, I've had enough of this. Yeah. Because in that one campaign, you go from like zombie apocalypse, you're in a church, and there's a little bit of horror, to like dungeon dwelling and like solving puzzles, to on a airplane again, and all of a sudden you're in China, and then you're fighting a T-Rex zombie thing, and then like you're fighting a giant fly. Yeah, that game is so all over the place. And like I remember I played a little bit of one of the other campaigns, and I fought like giants in the middle of a war zone and was on like a snowmobile for a while.
Sounds like a really weird like Godzilla offshoot.
Yeah. Well, so like the funny thing was the idea, like every other Resident Evil game came from like the first one was they literally were like, hey, Shinji Mikami, you know how you're scared of everything? We're going to put you in charge of a game that is scary because we figured somebody who gets scared of everything will make something terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And they were right. So then everyone kind of had this like, all right, so here's the base game. All right, let's make it bigger and better in Resident Evil 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then more action adventure, blow up Raccoon City and RE3. And then like Code Veronica was continuing this story while upping the ante again.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I said, 4 was where they had to change things and take a different route. But then they get to like 6 where they just wanted the ultimate horror entertainment. And so they were like, for people who like the action, there's some of that. For people who like the horror, there's some of that. But it felt like too many cooks in the kitchen. So yeah, that all being said, due to that, that's how we got Resident Evil 7, which is like terrifying.
Resident Evil as a whole, like the storyline doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, it does not.
Is there any like cohesive storyline at this point?
So
'cause I feel like after like 5, it just started becoming different games underneath the Resident Evil. Like, I mean, they're all horror games, all kind of have the same setting, but they're all like completely different story wise.
Well, so we have. So the first one picks up, and you're the STARS team, and you end up stranded in the woods, and you just happen to enter this mansion, and all of a sudden there's puzzles, and you have to like solve all the puzzles in order to escape the mansion safely. But then there's also like a secret lab underneath the mansion, and then you blow up the mansion or something, and then our heroes fly away. But oh no, Wesker, who is the captain of the team, he was a bad guy who worked for the Umbrella Corporation.
Right.
And so then 2 picks up with Claire a couple months later looking for her brother.
Is there any relation between the Umbrella Corporation and Resident Evil and like Umbrella Academy?
No.
Damn.
So Umbrella Academy was Gerard Way, the singer from My Chemical Romance. That was like just his comic, and apparently it's really good.
Yeah. I watched a little bit. It was pretty good.
I never saw the show, but I always wanted to read the comics. He, like, aside from me just being a fan of My Chemical Romance, I've always loved listening to interviews with him.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like a very like down to earth guy. Except for this one interview where it's really funny, where they're like, so what do you do to warm up before a show? And he's like, oh, typically a little bit of what was it? He was like, a little bit of like coffee and and cigarettes.
Nice.
And I was like, sure.
What a guy.
Cigarettes.
What a guy.
So yeah, good times. But I'm trying to think. So there's this police station in Raccoon City, and they like Claire and Leon get trapped in it because while Claire's looking for her brother, she just stumbles upon Leon, and both of them get trapped in it and have to find a way out. Except there's lock and key puzzles,
of course,
in this police station, and then like a monster gets sent in there whose name is Mr. X, and then meanwhile all of this is happening. Jill Valentine is on the other end of the city where there's a monster chasing her. Okay. That's also by the Umbrella Incorporation. And Leon and Claire escape the city while the city is getting nuked, and so does Jill Valentine.
Okay.
And so Resident Evil 2 and 3 happen simultaneously.
So the Umbrella Corporation, are they like creating like Mr. X and all of them? Yep. Or are they okay? So did they just like lose control of them?
No.
Or that wasn't
they're all
purpose.
bioweapons.
Okay.
So like each one has basically like a market value right next to its name. So like the tyrants, or like Mr. X or Nemesis in Resident Evil 3, they were the ones that they were like, these are the ones. These are like the top dollar ones. But like then you also have like the T virus and G virus and C virus or whatever. I don't know. I can't even remember all of it, but those were just like the plain old generic zombie ones. But
it's bonkers.
The tyrants were the ones where those were like the big ones, and so they were both sent into Raccoon City to hunt down people who were snooping around or whatnot. And so like the remake of 3 does a really good job of explaining what Claire Redfield had been doing in between, or not Claire, Jill Valentine, what she was doing in between Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 3. And it shows that she was looking into Umbrella and trying to uncover that. So when that thing's chasing after her, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then Code Veronica is the real sequel to like Resident Evil 2.
Do you like get like, this wasn't canon, this was just legacy, or this is like that type of thing with Resident Evil?
But like it's weird because it's all like canon, but it's like, so
different
Code Veronica focuses more on Claire and Chris and Wesker, and Resident Evil 3 focuses on Jill Valentine, and is just kind of, like I said, it's happening at the same time as Resident Evil 2, whereas it doesn't really further the story as much as it just kind of expands what's happening.
Right.
But Code Veronica actually furthers the story a little bit, and like the rivalry between Chris and Wesker just keeps growing.
Yeah.
And then trying to think, after that, Resident Evil 4, which is probably 4 and like 8 are probably my two favorites. I really liked 8. It was the first person shooter game that I've ever played all the way through.
Okay.
But like, basically you end up in a European village and you're looking for the president's daughter. And this mutated group of villagers try and kill you. And then you fight your way through this village and you find the president's daughter, and then you fight a bunch of monsters, and there's this really annoying thing called the Verdugo, and then you blow up this like oil manufacturing rig in the middle of nowhere on an island, and escape with the president's daughter, and that's Resident Evil 4.
I'm lost.
Yeah.
I'm entirely lost.
Mind you, all of this is canon.
Okay.
All of this is like happened in the span of like 5 years, I think, or 7 years.
Damn.
And so like Leon, he goes from being like a rookie cop on his first day in Resident Evil 2.
Right.
To badass president's personal bodyguard. And then Resident Evil 5 is the Ouroboros virus in Africa or something that Wesker is chasing, and then that game ends with Chris punching a boulder and fighting Wesker in an active volcano.
Nice.
And like I said, 6 is just all over the place. It's
6 is the only one that's all over the place. It sounds like all the games are like all over the place. Well, I guess after 4. After 4.
But like 4 seems tame when you're playing 6.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, they're almost like the Fast and Furious of like horror games, where it's
where just like every episode you get further and further from the truth.
Yeah.
Where like originally it was just like, we're street racing, now we're on the moon, I guess.
Yeah, it's like now we're racing against God.
Yeah.
And God has a 1960s Chevy Corvette. I don't know.
I'd be amazed if they don't do that at some point. Like, you know, you're gonna erase the
Jesus Christ.
You're gonna erase Jesus Christ. It's actually just Chris Walker come back from the dead. He's in a souped up Dodge Hellcat with the supercharged 360. I don't fucking know.
And then Vin Diesel's just like, but I thought we were family.
We're still our family. I'm just Jesus now, so we gotta race.
And then he's like,
racing.
and then like he
Jesus.
sips a Corona while showing the label, and he's like, Corona.
Yeah,
And
basically.
then The Rock will be there for some reason.
Yeah. God, every time I think about The Rock and Fast and Furious, I just like my brain like doesn't accept him as being a part of the universe, like
Yeah.
the Hobbs and Daw or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, Hobbs and Shaw.
I think I saw that one.
I didn't realize that they're like in the same universe as like the Fast and Furious thing until like a year ago.
It'd be that way though, because
Yeah.
like honestly, at this point I don't even look at like Dwayne Johnson's character's name anymore. I'm just like, it's just Dwayne Johnson in super secret funny cop guy who's in the jungle or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's
The Rock only plays The Rock, you know?
yeah. The only
Like all
one
of his roles are just, okay, he's just The Rock.
he's The Rock. There was that one where he was in the DC movie and he was in charge of that for like 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, this one's kind of different because he can fly, but otherwise he's just The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. That would be a hell of a video game. Just The Rock.
Just The
game.
Rock. It'd probably be like a wrestling game.
Yeah.
Just instead of just being like the WWE games where you're just like in the ring.
Yeah.
You're just not in the ring. You're just living
in
Rock's life. You gotta like fight. I don't know, Vin Diesel.
Yeah. You gotta fight Vin Diesel and
The goofy thing with The Rock and Vin Diesel is in their contracts they have it written in that they can't lose a fight.
Yeah, but they also have to have the exact amount of punches or something.
Yeah, something like that.
It's like, what? It's like, I have to hit him as many times. And then you got The Rock on the other side. I have to hit him as many times as he hits me. And
Something like that, yeah.
It's just stupid. I kind of...
I don't understand why you would put that in a contract unless you just have a massive fucking ego, which makes sense. They probably both do.
Rock.
His name is The Rock.
But, man. That being said, I've been trying to do this segment a little bit more, but have you been watching or playing anything, or...
Oh my god. I've been playing this fancy new game called Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay, someone was explaining this, and they were saying it's like changing the game. Like,
So, the big thing about Baldur's Gate 3 is it's essentially just D&D as a video game.
okay,
So, you can do basically whatever you want.
huh?
And I mean basically whatever you want. Like if you walk into a village and you're just like, man, I want to slaughter everybody. You can slaughter everybody and still continue on with the story. Like you can like walk in and meet like 10 very essential characters to the story. You can just kill them all. And you can just continue on with the story.
Wow.
It's insane. There's something like 7,000 different varieties of the ending.
Wow.
So no matter what you do, it's gonna like every single thing you do from like the class and the race and like the gender that you pick
Yeah.
is gonna affect how the game plays and what you can do like just in the upcoming like challenges.
Can I find a redhead who will love me in this game?
A redhead, no,
Oh.
but a hot demon woman, yes.
Oh. What's the difference?
Or a weird alien woman, yeah. Or an edgy goth girl, yeah. I don't know.
Is
I
it
think
available
Shadowheart-
for PlayStation?
I think it's only on PC, which is the only bad thing about it. Is actually I'll look. I'm pretty sure it's only on PC, but
Just
but
asking for a friend.
for a little bit, like I know Eli, which we had last time, or I guess 2 weeks ago on the podcast. Like we're both kind of in this state of mind. We're like, if I'm not doing something, I'm just sitting there thinking about Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
So like, while you were talking, I spaced out for a second. I was like, man, what am I gonna do next on my gameplay? I was like, man, I need to go like talk to that newspaper guy. I was like, wait, I'm doing something.
You're like, wait.
Snap back to reality.
You're like robot dinosaur or something in Resident Evil.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder if I could make a better Resident Evil in Baldur's Gate.
I mean, there are like weird squid monsters. So I mean, yeah.
You can do a lot with those squid monsters.
You can do a lot with those squid monsters. I know what you're thinking about, and you can do it.
Yep. You can make calamari, and you can
bang them.
Octopus.
You can also. There's also a scene which kind of went viral when the game was like first being released.
No.
That like you can screw a bear. So I did some research, some science.
You wanna another slice?
Yeah. I need to decide on if I like pineapple on pizza or not. But I did some digging on the whole bear thing, and it's not an actual bear. It's a dude who can turn into a bear.
Oh, so it's.
But like while you're having sexy times with him, you can tell him to stay as a bear. It's wild. Baldur's Gate's fantastic. I've dumped over 100 hours into the game. It's only been out for 3 weeks.
Remember when Red Dead Redemption 2 was such a like big thing, and it was like you can skin a bear. Look how far we've come.
Yep. There was a rumor for a while where the Larian Studios, the guys who made Baldur's Gate, were gonna sue or getting sued by like EA and Activision and all of them because they made such a good game, and they were raising the expectations of gamers too much to where like these like big AAA companies like Ubisoft, Activision, EA wouldn't be able to keep up.
Mm-hmm. Or just make better games.
Yeah.
And pay your employees.
Which the lawsuit's bullshit, but I do think that companies like Activision, EA, Ubisoft, they've been getting away with like this just, I'm going to half-ass make a game and then just pump it full of microtransactions and we'll be all set.
Yeah. I legitimately miss the days where I could just pick up a game, throw it into the disk drive, and play.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I have to pop in the game and wait 6 hours for it to download the latest patch. And I'm like, what latest patch? You came out today.
Mm-hmm. There's day one patches, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just think, I mean, even Red Dead 2, games like The Witcher and Cyberpunk, like these big like story-driven games, like yeah, sure you can't expect like, you know, Battlefield to have that same type of energy behind it, but even with that, you have games like Battlefield 1 where just there was so much attention to detail that like it took like 4 to 5 years to make, but it's a phenomenal game, and those the Battlefield 1 servers are still full to this day.
Yeah.
You know? And like it's really just attention to detail, you know? It's just like make it realistic, make it to where like, oh, if I, you know, have my character do this early on in the game, have that come back up later on.
Well, wasn't it Battlefield where someone had got into like a jet and they flown and then they jumped out of the jet and shot somebody with an RPG and then jumped back in the jet, and then that became a selling point in one of their commercials? Yeah,
that became a selling point in 2040 or Battlefield 2024, 2042. Where they wanted you to be able to, like, you know, hop out of an airplane, snipe somebody out of their airplane, and then steal their airplane. But which is, it's still really cool. You know, it's awesome to see all that stuff, but don't make it to where I had to they got rid of the class system where I don't know if you ever played any Battlefield games, but it's always been like, oh yeah, you have your medic, you have your support, you have your assault. Sorry, you have your assault, support, engineer, and sniper classes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been every single Battlefield game up to 2042. And in 2042, they switched to like this system where each like different, or you have all these different characters that have different like special abilities.
Yeah.
Instead of just having a class, you know. So you have like the bulldozer dude who has like a big shield and he can push people over. You have like the sniper guy. You have the guy who can grapple. You have the guy who can, I don't know, build a drone. And that's the type of thing that I don't want to do that in a Battlefield game. I guess this is one of those things where I'm stuck in tradition.
Yeah.
But the tradition's just good. So it's just better.
It's like Call of Duty is one of those ones, or Fortnite, where they have the little gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
But what made Battlefield different was how you had those 4 classes.
And it's always consistent with those 4 classes.
Yeah, because it was like the same thing in the Star Wars Battlefront series where it had like... I'm pretty sure they ripped it off from Battlefield, but it was like a similar class system where it was like you had a heavy, a sniper, your normal just trooper, and then like
your
engineer.
And then you have like your Wookiee and your Ewok and your specialty like Star Wars classes too.
Yeah. And then you had like your Jedi or your heroes and villains. But that's what made it was you could choose each class and it was like, okay, well, if I choose this one, I won't be able to do other things, but like I can, I just have to play around this character until I can get to a base where I could change that character. But it just made you have to get good with the different classes.
Plus you have this give and take. You have like, oh, if I play this class, I'm going to be able to do all this stuff, but I'm going to have a couple of weaknesses.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do this, and this, which is great. Yeah. Because then you can then you feel useful in a role, and you know that you're not going to be able to do another thing, so you let your teammates do the other thing for you. And it promotes this like teamwork type of activity. Yeah. To where you have people sniping, you have people blowing up vehicles, you have people healing others.
Yeah.
It's better than what has happened with 2042. I just don't like 2042 personally.
That's fair.
As a Battlefield game.
That's fair.
As a side note, as we're sitting here eating pizza, and comparing the pepperoni pizza to the pineapple pizza, pineapple's better.
Let me have another slice.
I just think it's better. It adds another layer to the pizza. It adds this like nice sweet citrusy just flavor over the top of it.
I just wish they cut the damn pizza.
Yeah. Adds like this nice texture too. You get the kind of like crunchiness of pineapple, along with the crispiness of the crust.
Man, this would have been good hot.
It would have been.
Tragic.
Honestly.
Alas. Cold pizza, though, every once in a while.
Honestly, depending on the pizza, cold pizza is better.
Sometimes, yeah.
I mean, granted, it depends on the kind of pizza. Like taco pizza, can't have that cold.
No. Taco pizza. What was it from Taco Bell? The Mexican pizza? Mm-hmm. Gotta love that thing. So disgusting. And you're like, this is an abomination. Mm-hmm. I'll take your entire stock.
They can go to like Pizza Hut and be like, hey, I want a taco pizza. They'll tops basically all your toppings. So you'll have like, beans, beef, lettuce, cheese, peppers, all in like a pizza crust. And it's like a crust, like a crispy crust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like I just kind of, I've always eaten like pepperoni as like, that's always been my favorite, but like I'm just like eating them and like actually thinking about like which one is better.
Mm-hmm. It's so pepperoni's great. Don't get me wrong. It's just bland, It's same old, same old.
It's a bit too how you going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like going abroad and going to like, I don't know,
McDonald's.
Yeah, it's like
It'll
going out,
always
like
be safe.
flying out to Italy and having McDonald's. You know, like yeah, it's food. Yeah, you know, it's gonna be at least decent. But why not go that extra mile and, you know, go get some pepperoni pizza, you know? Granted, I think if you ask for pepperoni pizza in an Italian pizzeria,
They're going to tell you to
you're going to get shot.
Yeah. Get the fugacini out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how Italians talk. I could be the stereotyping, but I don't care.
They're going to bring back crucifixion.
Okay, so hear me out. Mm-hmm. We're not doing that bad. Like, as a society, we're not doing all that bad. I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm not saying that we don't have issues.
Yeah.
Like racism, that still sucks.
Racism fucking sucks.
But we used to, like, nail people to a cross and, like, beat them with, like, what were those? The cat and nine tails?
Mm-hmm.
I was
Lashes.
like, yeah. I was like, we used to do that for fun.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was the sort of thing that, like, it was like, yo, you should come to Joey's crucifixion on Thursday, you know?
Yeah. People used to watch, like, public hangings for fun. And that wasn't even that long ago. That was, like, in the, like, 1800s.
Yeah. I'm like, you know, we're not doing too bad, because they used to do that for fun. Mm-hmm. And it was like, yeah, you should come. We're gonna crucify this guy, and we're gonna stone his wife to death later. And then we also remember the Colosseums. Yeah. What were those?
Yeah, it's basically just
a giant football
forcing hundreds of slaves to fight, like, bears and lions and tigers. You know,
and if that got boring, fight each other
exactly
to the death.
To the death.
And it was like, oh yeah, good, clean family fun.
You know, the history of, like, the gladiators is kind of cool, though, because, like, the types of gladiators that were in the arena changed based on the type of slaves that were being brought in. So, like, let's say Rome at the time was invading modern day France, or at the time would be Gaul. All those guys would bring in, like, their fighting styles into the gladiator arena, and it would change how the gladiators fight each other. So, like, I'm sure you've seen, like, the guys who have, like, they have, like, the net and the spear. You know?
But that didn't always work when the guy had a fucking sword.
Exactly. So, like, you know, if you net the guy with the one thing and then you stab him through the net, you know, you're all fine and dandy, but then you got this guy who comes in with a big old fucking great axe and chops your shit up. Then it's just like, oh, well, fuck.
Yeah.
My nut's not going to do much in this. So then, like, all the fighting, like, the fighting styles evolve and change with who's being brought in.
And then Kyle brought his Monster Energy drink and his his AK-47.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And then
the rest
Rome fell in a day.
Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious. You know, so I'm not a big, like, history buff. I don't know too much about history, but I know a few key points.
Yep.
And one thing that I know is Hitler was a real person.
I mean, that's kind of essentially it.
Mm-hmm. But not everybody knows that.
Huh?
So the other day I cracked a joke. So I used to have a mustache, and then I shaved it so it was only a little tiny part in the middle. And
yeah, the Charlie Chaplin going on.
Yeah, and everyone said that I look like Hitler. And honestly, I've had it up to here with all the with all the Hitler jokes. So for those who are listening at home, I did the little. What is that?
Yeah, he did the 45 degrees.
Yeah, I did the little salute, and that makes the joke, and that's where I've had it up to. And so, like, it's a really funny joke that I learned from somebody. And so I said that joke, and someone was like, "Oh, Hitler, he was the guy from the video game, right?" I was like, "What?"
Was this a whole ass adult that said this?
Was one of the younger coworkers of mine, but I was like, it was still baffling. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like hoping he was talking about like Wolfenstein or maybe like one of the older Call of Duties or something where I'm like, all right, that might make sense if Hitler was in there. But he was like, yeah, the bald guy. And I was like, Hitler wasn't bald. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, he was Hitler. He was in the video game. And I was like, no, Hitler was a real person. It was like, well, yeah, he was based off of a real person, but no, he was a video game. I was like, no. And then like we were thinking about like bald video game characters, and we're like, do you mean Hitman?
Oh my fucking God.
And he was like, yeah, that's the one. I was like, that's completely unrelated from Hitler.
I mean, they both kill people.
I mean, yes, but like one of them had hair. But then like it got worse because I was like, do you know who Hitler was or what he did? And he was like, pretty sure he had something to do with the war between worlds. And I was like, no. And he was like, I was like, do me a favor, brush up on your World War II history. And I was like, yeah, when China fought Russia. And I was like, huh? No. And I was like, do me a favor, brush up on your world history. Like,
go watch the history of the world, I guess. That's basically like that's the baseline knowledge that you need. Just
but like the sad thing is that it's more like that's more like or I'm trying to think of how to word. There is more information in History of the World, a Mel Brooks film, great film by the way. There's more info in that than like they teach in our public school system. Because I was like baffled by this kid. I was like, I genuinely can't believe what you're telling me right now. Again, I'm not a history buff. I'm not like an expert, but I was like, oh my God, we're all doomed.
Yeah. I've always been kind of a history buff. I've always like enjoyed documentaries.
Yeah.
That type of thing. I remember as a kid I always watched Deadliest Warrior, where they'd make these stupid fucking like comparisons between like a pirate and a knight, or like people who existed within the same time periods, like within the same like century, I guess, but like they'd never really go up against each other.
Yeah.
So like,
I was like, how would Cleopatra fare against some random gladiator?
Or like a Zulu warrior versus a Spartan or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? It was the stupidest shit. And they like sit and like calculate, do like bullshit calculations like, oh yeah, this guy had a spear made of wood and iron, but this guy had a spear made entirely of iron. But so he's obviously going to win that fight. And then these guys trained for this many long and long.
But they trained for this many long. It's been a long day, folks.
It has been. It's been a really long day.
I opened at work this morning, so I was there at like 8 a.m. And it was one thing after another where I was like, all right. I was telling my boss, I was like, there have been complications. And she was like, complications? I was like, well, this wasn't working, so I had to find out why and get to the bottom of it, but I got it working again. But I was like, just to verify, this is the test strip, right, that I'm supposed to use for this? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, it's not doing the thing it usually does. And it was just one thing after the next.
Yeah,
but I believe it. Back to I'm sorry I interrupted. Spartan Warriors versus.
Oh yeah, no, it was. You're fine. I was just kind of like making these like weird ass comparisons because, I don't know. I always watched that as a kid, and that was like my first introduction to like, whoa, these people exist. Like, what is a Spartan? What do these guys do? And then so I'd go and watch a documentary about like Greek history, Greek politics, Greek like warfare.
Yeah,
and you learn that like Greece was never like necessarily one big country. It was a collection of city states that just kind of like fought each other on occasion.
Yeah.
And then like if you ran into somebody like the Persians, which is where like I don't know if you've ever seen the movie 300, but that's what that's based off of, is like there were 300 Spartans defending a pass against like thousands of Persians, which I don't think the movie is historically accurate.
They never are.
Like, I don't think it's even like 50% accurate, but I don't know. I just always thought it was cool.
I mean, that's fair. I was really into pirates for a bit, and I remember like learning about like rigging and like different intricate details of like ships and galleons, and like I was like, whoa, these are really cool. And I was like, I need a pirate ship. And then I was like, damn, that's expensive.
Yeah. No, I kind of ran into the same thing too.
Yeah.
Like, hell, I'd still love to go like just drop everything, just sell everything, just go live on a boat for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, like, that would be a really fun thing to do where it's like, hey, me, Caleb, Marcos, and I don't know, we got to have some, I don't know,
another person.
50. Yeah, at least, I was going to say at least another 50, because those took a lot of people to get that thing working.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you get like a smaller boat, you can, hell, there's boats that are small enough that were like, you can man it by yourself.
Yeah.
I saw a video of a dude who sailed from, I think, California to Hawaii solo. And I mean, it looks stressful as fuck because you've always got to like keeping an eye on your stuff just to make sure you don't end up on the other like 100 miles away from your destination.
Yeah. Well, because always trying to figure out what direction you're going.
Yeah, but
they can go that direction.
Yeah, because like that's why I'll travel. Because if you're like 1 degree off when you first start, you're gonna end up if you go far enough 100 miles away from where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you're dead on with your navigation.
Do be that way sometimes.
Which, fun fact, is why America was discovered, is because Christopher Columbus sucked at navigation.
Yeah. I love how that's like a holiday. We celebrate somebody who was wrong. Because he was looking for...
He was looking for India.
Yeah.
Or the Indies, I guess, which is like India, the Philippines.
He too was looking for an Asian girl. Indeed.
He was looking for spices. That's what he was looking for. Because Europeans discovered that they suck at cooking. And they need spices.
They were like, And the YouTube channel "You Suck at Cooking" hadn't yet been invented yet.
Yep.
That or I really like binging with Babish.
Yeah, binging with Babish is really cool.
I want to try, like, I always see something on there. I'm like, I should try and make that, and then I'm like, I'll get around to it another day. Mm-hmm. Have I ever told you about my perfect commercial?
I don't think so. No.
So it's for paper plates, and basically, we'll just say like a random guy comes home from work and he looks and he's like, I don't want to cook, but reluctantly he looks inside his fridge and finds a bunch of stuff, throws it together, cooks, and he makes a plate. And he looks at his plate of food, and he looks at the pots and pans and the dishes, and he's like, I'll do it tomorrow. And the next day, same thing happens, and now there's just this stack of dishes and pots and pans and like a separate pile of just plates piling up. And he's just like, I'll do it tomorrow. And by like the third or fourth day, it's honestly just easier for him to sell the house. But instead, he does the most logical thing, and he throws down some kerosene, and then right as he lights the match, he strikes in. It says, Dixie, it didn't have to come to this. Nice. And new Dixie paper plates, where it's stronger, more flexible, more durable.
And non-flammable.
Yeah.
Fire resistant.
Yeah, it's like, it was, I'll do your homework. I don't know. It's just new Dixie paper plates, the Commander X5.
Smart plates.
Yeah. Compatible with all your Bluetooth devices.
Yeah.
But I was like, I've always had this idea for this commercial. I'm like, I should pitch that. And then I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. But yeah. I think now would be a good time to go through the comments. And
yeah.
Maybe
I did see that we got something from my boy Jason.
Yeah, that was actually the one that I was gonna read.
That said that he's sending us all draft notices.
Yes, on
which
August
actually
4th.
Didn't you say that you had had some interest in joining like the National Guard or something like that?
So I had some interest in joining the National Guard, and initially it was the Marines. So let's see. We go back a little bit over a year now, and I got the call from the militarymen's in the armies, and they were like, "We want you." And I was like, you know what? I would, but around the time that you want to ship me off is when I'm supposed to open a restaurant, and I've already made that prior engagement. I was like, I can't like bail on that. So I opened the restaurant, and then a couple months later got the same old "we want you," but from the Marines. And they were like, "Why are you interested about the Marines?" I'm like, "Well, you gave me a call, and unlike every girl who's ever given me their number, I answer and at least humor you." Like, so I went and I was like looking into it. I was like, financial aid. I was like, free college.
Yeah.
VA loan. I was like, those are...
The benefits are great.
Yeah, I was like, the Marines.
No, I will say, don't get fooled by their $20,000 sign-in bonus or whatever, because you get that $20,000 over the entire time you're in the Army.
So that was actually something. This last time when I was doing the National Guard, because I even went to like a physical training thing with the Marines, and like I was honestly surprised. I did more pull-ups than I thought I was able to do. I ran like, it was like a 2.5 mile run in like under 15 minutes, or was it? No, it's like under 13 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
Like I barely went over their like qualifying time, and I don't run to save my life.
Right. Like
if I have to run to save my life, I'll just die. I don't feel like messing with my asthma.
Yeah, I got you.
So I did that, and then there was a few like not disqualifying, but few things that they were like, yeah, let's work on this, and we'll get back to you, you know. And then I just didn't, and they didn't get back to me. I was like, okay,
fair enough.
Figured that was the door closing. Then I got a call from the National Guard, and I was like, okay, let's shit, here we go again.
Shit.
So I went in, and I was like talking with them for a bit, and same thing, those benefits. And they were like, well, they were like, well, let's see if you even like qualify.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, what's the worst? So somehow I ended up taking like the ASVAB, or I think they called it the PICAP, but then I had to go for like a
big test of some sort.
Yeah. And to my surprise, I scored really well.
Nice.
I scored within like, it was like a 70 percentile or something like that.
Nice.
And I was like, huh. It's like, I thought I was stupid. I'm slightly less stupid. And after that, they were like, well, here's a bunch of jobs you qualify. And the first things that caught my eye were the $20,000 sign on.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And they did explain it, and they're like, it's not $20,000 up front. I was like, yeah, but still $7,500 up front is not bad either. I was like, I could buy a lot of cocaine and hookers with that.
Hell yeah, bro.
So
and women love a man in uniform.
Yeah. Oh,
Jason can confirm.
Maybe I should. Hey, Jason, if you're listening to this, message me in private. We'll talk. No, we'll figure this out. Should I join?
I'm pretty sure if like you're in the military and you recommend somebody, like he gets like I don't know. Like, I think he either gets a bonus or like a point towards ranking up.
It's like, hey, you recommended this guy. Here's a $5 bonus.
Yeah,
here's some extra bonus bucks and Marines tokens or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Extra pack of crowns.
Yeah. They're like, here, you get an extra soft pillow for your what is it? I can't think of what they're called. The rooms, the
barracks.
Yeah, the barracks.
Yeah. So goofy.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let me know what you get, Jason, and I'll consider it. You know, the funny thing is, I think I had like one conversation with Jason.
Probably.
I remember him, but
because he left after his first year at Butler.
Yeah,
because he went and joined the Marines.
Yeah, well, loser.
Fucking crayon eater.
Yeah, I get it. What you were saying about the crayons, I thought that was just funny, but no, that's right. Marines are crayon eaters because they're supposed to be dumb.
Indeed.
Are they? Like, is Jason dumb?
No, Jason's smart as fuck.
That's what I thought.
But like, the wild thing is the Marines have like the highest like qualifying standards.
Really?
Like again, like versus like the Marines. No, the Air Force even has even lower qualifications. Like for the ASVAB, you can score lower on the ASVAB and still work for the Air Force than you can for the Marines, which makes sense because I think the Marines have like a smaller staffing like need, so they don't need as many people. But I don't know.
The few and the proud, right?
Few and the proud.
I don't know. I just like the idea of a challenge.
That's fair.
Because they were like, why not some of the other branches? I was like, y'all called me. I was like, and I'm not one to run from a challenge. Because they even like, well, I was talking with the recruiter. They it wasn't a game, but they were like, all right, so take all these little things. And each one had like a sense of purpose, leadership management. And they were like, one of them was like, a sense of fun and adventure. And they were like, now whichever ones are like most important to you, put those up front and close to you, and put whichever ones are like least important or not your priority, put those in the back. And the first thing I did was I took fun and adventure and put that in the very back. And they're like, you know, you would be the person to get stationed in like Hawaii. They're like, yeah. You'd get like the nice tropical, or they're like some nice place.
You get stationed in like Japan or something like that. Man, I thought about joining the army, or not even the army, like the Air Force or just the military of some sort, just for the sake of being able to travel.
I mean, that's
just easy. Because like you're getting paid to live on a base like in Germany or in Japan, or there's a couple like around the Caribbean, or granted 99% of the time you're gonna spend your time at a base in like South Carolina, but like
well, like my god sister
Louisiana,
she is in the army right now, but I can't remember what job it was that she picked, but she did one of the ones where she has like 2 years of additional training for that specific job. And so right now she's just going to gay bars every night in San Francisco.
Fuck yeah.
While she does her training, but she's getting paid the whole time. And I'm just like, I'm like, that just seems so stupid to just go out every night. But on the other hand, I'm like,
they're collecting a check. I mean, you're basically just going to school. You're getting paid to go to school and just kind of enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you have to deal with like all the military bullshit. So they have these things called mandatory fun days, and Jason was just kind of explaining it to me. It's basically a day where you have to like go out, you stand like out in the hot sun, and you're like you're required to have fun. It's a morale booster or some shit like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you see, I would be the person like, well, I mean, granted, that first year that I was at Butler, that was pretty much how I am, and like I'm just like, if it doesn't have any importance to me, I'm just like, I won't go out of my way to have fun. Like, for me, this is fun. Sitting on my couch, talking about pineapples on pizza.
Hell yeah.
And talking about other people's life choices. And maybe playing a video game.
Hell yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just too tired to do any of it. Or I'm just like, I don't know. Or guitars. I like guitars. Oh yeah, I finally got here, let me show you the crack one.
Oh, sweet. The crack guitar. How long ago did we talk about that? Like 2 or 3 weeks ago? That's actually kind of sick.
I know, it's like, so it's this really like, as they're commonly referred to, parts casters.
Oh, okay.
So
somebody cut out like the frame of it.
So it is like Fender headstock, we think. Or it's just
it's got a Fender sticker on it at least, so.
Yeah, and so that's what we're not sure if it's a Fender, because like it's either that or somebody just took a sticker and put it on there.
Mhm.
But it is some kind of neck with some kind of tuners, some kind of body with the plate on the back being a Fender.
Nice.
It's a butterscotch orange, but the front was completely sanded off and painted with this like teal blue, and then there's like this silver marble pick guard. And then for the neck pickup, it is a humbucker and then a typical telly pickup in the bridge.
Mhm.
And it's got silver hardware. But
Nice.
like, just, it stays in tune, it plays, and it feels very nice and slinky. Like anytime I play anything on there,
Hell yeah.
just massively messes up.
Oh yeah, it has a really nice sound to it.
But yeah. So, I'm writing a couple new songs right now. We'll see where that goes, because like all of them are all over the place. Where like one of them is like really heartfelt and depressing, and the other one is just like, so this girl talked to me, like, and then I'm considering taking this old idea that I had that I actually used for the intro of Max's podcast. I'm considering remaking that and like changing up the lyrics and vocals to it, because the original vocals I was never happy with the way that song turned out.
Gotcha, yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know. One thing that, like, you said something about, like, she talked to me. It was kind of like the theme of the other song.
oh yeah,
It's like, I don't know. I find myself doing kind of the same thing, where it's just like somebody treated you with basic decency, and then you kind of like you just swoon over him for a couple of days.
Yeah,
it was like, man,
she
was so adorable. She talked to me.
She treated me like a human being.
She didn't like spit at me or like calling me names.
So, like, I was trying to explain this because Marcos was actually making fun of me because I was like, she talked to me, and that was like kind of all I could think about that night was I was like, I had a conversation with
Marcos doesn't get it. He has a partner.
Yeah, you there's, but yeah,
he doesn't have any right to talk about you swooning over a woman talking to him.
But like, what was really funny though was like for the entire shift at work, I was just like, every once in a while, I couldn't think about anything, but I was like, she talked to me, and I was like, they were like all making fun of me. I was like, okay, but let me put it this way: when I was in Texas, I used to go to church, right? And one of the nicest things a girl ever said to me was, I guess I'll talk to you because there's nobody here better here. There's nobody here that right now that is better to talk to.
Jesus.
And I was like,
man, women suck. Men suck. People just suck in general.
Exactly. But I was like,
just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
That's like, my advice. That's Caleb's. Caleb's logic for the day. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick. You know.
One of the did we ever read you the how to get the bitches that article?
I don't think so. No.
One of them was don't be a dick.
Yeah, just don't be a dick.
I was like, it's sad that is like actually good information now.
Don't be a narcissistic cunt. I mean, that's just all I have to say. You know, like everybody could just, everything would just be better if people were just nice to each other.
Yeah. It would be, as the Beach Boys said, wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah.
But like, alas, here we are. People just suck. But alas, it could be worse. We could be crucifying people.
Hey,
so
I'm gonna say it. Some people deserve it.
You're not wrong.
Hitler, I think he deserved it.
Yeah, Hitler probably deserved it.
Jesus didn't, but I mean,
like I always like to picture Jesus as just like that really chill guy at a party who's just kind of in the corner speaking his thoughts, and everyone's like, "Who is this hippie?" And then
Who is this guy?
like, but he's just like sipping on the house red, and he's just in the corner, and they're like, "He's not wrong,"
Yeah.
but he's just chill in the background, and then they're like,
Hey, this guy's
"Oh."
got a point.
And then like he tears, but he'd also be that one friend who would like tear it up on Mario Kart, or
Hell
like
yeah.
he just have like random talents, and you're like, yo, do that magic trick with the wine again, that was cool.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, but yeah, she talked to me.
Hell yeah.
And then I was like going through the list, I was like, that police officer, that the "you're not a cop" joke didn't work. The like just be existing didn't work. I was like, I just have terrible luck with women. Or like, what was it? Part of the lyrics of the "She Talked to Me" song was like, I am just way too shy to talk to women because I'm like, whoa, they're cool and I'm not. So like, I was like, I guess it's safer to just stay over here in my little corner.
For me, it's
Never-
like I
never say
hear all these stories like either online or just from like female friends that I have, where it's just like they'll have like an experience where like this dude says some like outlandish shit, and they just get really uncomfortable, and it's just like I don't want to be like, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. Like, I'm not gonna say anything outlandish, but like, what if like what I say isn't perceived the way I mean it? You know? Like I don't want the last thing, like my personal biggest fear when I'm like out in public or like I'm doing something or trying to talk to a woman or something, or you know, just talking to people in general, is just making somebody uncomfortable unintentionally. Yeah, it's just like,
well, that's like one of the biggest.
I feel bad, you know.
One of the biggest fears with like even the podcast, because I'm like, by a lot of standards, I say a lot of controversial things, but 9 out of 10 times I am joking. Yeah, 9 out of 10. But like on the other hand, I also, if I say something, I never say it and hope to offend somebody. I always say things as and especially on this podcast, as a matter of opinion. Except this podcast does not reflect our actual,
it doesn't reflect our actual opinions or thoughts or political views.
But all that being said, we do this for the viewers, not the views. Yeah. but yeah, no, like it's always this kind of weird thing where you're like, especially now, you're just walking on eggshells 24/7, just hoping to not like scare people off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. It's spooky as fuck. I get massive amounts of social anxiety, especially if I'm like out alone. Yeah. Like I went to the Monica House concert alone. That, like, I enjoyed the concert. The concert was great, but the entire time when you guys weren't playing, I was like, I don't want to be here. Yeah. Like I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. The
fuck?
I don't know what
I could go.
was. I just went.
Had some mic noises.
Yeah.
I suppose.
But like there's let me see. 2022 was a year where I kind of learned to be alone. And I still don't like being alone. And people are like, oh, you have to learn how to be alone and okay with being alone by yourself. I was like, I don't think that's necessarily true. Because I think there is, like you said, sometimes you're just at like a place and when you are enjoying what you're there for, that's great. But other times you're just like, this is just weird. Like, it'd be
like, this would be so much more fun if I had like a friend or a girlfriend here that I could just like, you know, enjoy this with.
Yeah. And it's like doing the podcast. Like last week we weren't able to get in studio, so thank God we had that backup episode. But it was like, I considered for a minute just going on and just talking by myself, and I was like, that's so weird. And like even doing like the gameplay stuff, like I did the Indiana Jones Lego Let's Play, and I did the first 3 parts, and I was like, I wish Marcos or Caleb or like Max or somebody was here. I was like, I almost considered getting the dog, but then I was like, he's just gonna hit the microphone a lot, and I was like, and then I'll have to buy a new microphone, and that gets expensive. Yeah. But yeah, no, like companionship.
Companionship, man.
It's like it's
At the end of the day, that's all we want.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all anybody wants, really.
Yeah.
I think.
That and probably like $20. $20 is pretty cool.
That, I mean, not even just $20, just, sustainability.
Yeah, sustainability, companionship, and pineapple pizza.
And pineapples on pizza. I don't know if you're in the same camp as me, but I am in the pineapples on pizza camp.
Me too. I think we should.
I think the violent outrage because of it is unwarranted, and you guys should pull the sticks out of your ass and have some pineapples.
Yeah, honestly, there's just how y'all get upset about racism. Imagine hating something for no reason.
Yeah,
that's just silly. Just a bit ridiculous.
Just a bit.
Just a bit. That being said, I feel like this was a very distinguished conversation.
This was quite the distinguished conversation. Can confirm.
Yeah.
Alrighty, folks. Nope, not from me. How about you?
Just
don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just talk to people. I think at the end of the day, everybody has that anxiety. So just talk to people. But that anxiety is never gonna go away.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's everybody. The world may or never know.
The world will never know.
With that horrifying advice, I think we'll be ending here.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Go follow us on the Insta chats and subscribe
and YouTube.
All that.
Comment, subscribe.
Yeah. Bye.